Wow, stories.
Am I an idiot for demanding my parents to pay me for keeping my sister for the weekend? I female 20, have an 11-year-old little sister. Last weekend, my grandfather passed away, and my parents flew out for his funeral. My parents asked me if I could watch my sister for the weekend at my apartment. I had agreed, and had asked my parents how much they'd pay me, and they said they'd let me know when they get back what they had because they were low on money, and this trip was going to put them back. Basically, my sister stayed for the weekend. I went out and bought a bunch of kid-friendly groceries, and we had a lot of fun together. Come Sunday night, my parents come to pick us, and they start to leave. I remind them about paying me. They got all awkward and said they decided it wasn't necessary for all the things they've done for me, and I was her sister, I should be happy to help. I said no, you need to pay me. I reminded them of the groceries I bought and the pizza, and how I had called out of work for the weekend to watch her. They told me I was acting like a spoiled brat, and that I shouldn't act like watching my sister and helping my family is a chore. They left. I basically texted them saying I expected them to pay me within the week, or I would no longer be helping out. They just replied with, "We are your parents, not a bank. Sorry for your confusion, but there was never a money agreement. Since it was such a big deal to you, we won't need your help again." Even though there isn't a set agreement, I feel like I should have been paid. I don't think I'm acting spoiled. Not an idiot. You should be reimbursed for the groceries and the salary you lost. You shouldn't get paid for your time. That's just helping out your family. Maybe if you make it clear to them that you only need to have your expenses covered, they'll understand. Everyone sucks here. They agreed to pay you and backed out. But your whole attitude sucks. They left for a funeral. It's not like they wanted a date night. It was a weekend. How much did you spend on food? She's also 11 and able to occupy herself. Are they taking advantage of OP? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I an idiot for fighting to steal a stranger's inheritance? My 27, male, dad, 61, had this friend Jay, M54. Growing up, Jay was like an uncle to me. He taught me a lot of things about the world and was a huge mentor. Jay has been married to May, 51, female, for number 30 years. But around 21 years ago, Jay had an affair due to May sterility issues from which an illegitimate child, Kay, was born. Jay and May solved their issues and remained happily married. For 18 years, Jay paid child support, but other than that, wanted absolutely nothing to do with Kay. Yet, 3 years ago, when Jay was diagnosed with cancer, he tried to contact Kay, but at that point, Kay refused. Also, Jay had a brother who's got 2 boys. Jay told me personally he never really approved of his sister-in-law, but they get along fine. Sadly, Jay passed away last week. This wasn't unexpected news because he's been desperately fighting cancer for the past 3 years. I want to be transparent and admit that I was the one who convinced him to finally get checked and was there every step of the way with him. Used all my connections as a resident to get him the best treatment possible. A lot of people showed up at the funeral, including Kay and Jay's AP. It was heartwarming seeing so many people pay their respects. But May wasn't pleased seeing Kay and the AP there. And after the funeral, as Jay's executor, May told everyone what was in his will, 40% of his estate with May, 20% to his 2 nephews, 5% certain items and memorabilia to his friends, my dad included, rest to me. This caused a bit of an outrage with 3 people in particular, Kay, the AP, and the sister-in-law. The sister-in-law said her nephews should get more. Her eldest and Jay's brother quickly shut her down, though. From what Jay had told me about her, she's the kind of person to go to court over this, but his brother seemed reasonable and understanding, so hopefully nothing happens. Kay was livid. He went on about how dare Jay exclude him from his will when he couldn't even bother being a father, etc. He basically went on a tirade criticizing a man at his funeral. He also threatened to sue everyone. At this point, everyone got incredibly irritated, because in my country, if he sues, he is likely to at least get something. So I stepped in and made him an offer. I'll give him about 5% in cash right now, and he leaves everyone alone. We don't see his face ever again. His reply was that I can go feck myself, that I'm an entitled idiot who doesn't deserve anything from Jay and that he's going to sue for everything. I told him that he is welcome to sue. But if he does, I'll try my damnedest to make sure he receives nothing and also has to pay for our court fees. So that was that at the funeral. I'm waiting for him to sue at this point. But the thing is, today, while hanging out with my friends, I told the story. I thought it would be funny or entertaining. Thing is, a few of my friends disagreed. They called Jay an AH for abandoning Jay for 21 years, and me one for fighting for money I don't need, and denying K his birthright. No idiots here, because Jay is dead. He thought he could waltz into K's life after refusing to be a father for decades. K had to grow up without one. Of course, he continues to be angry. And yeah, Jay should have provided something in his will as an apology. But you have no obligation to give him anything. You're an idiot. He left his wife because she couldn't have kids, which means he planned K and promptly abandoned them. K didn't ask to be born and thrown away like the tissue your pathetic uncle should have finished in. It's pathetic for you to continue his cycle of abuse. Your relationship with Jay is irrelevant. Jay owed it to K, and you know that. Is OP technically stealing? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I an idiot for telling my sister to stop buying my kids expensive gifts? I, female 35, have 3 kids with my DH, 31 WEM. We both try our hardest to provide for our kids the best way we possibly can, but still, there are quite a few limitations to the amount of luxury we can afford. My sister, female 24, got married to her wife, female 29, around a year ago. Every time she comes to pay us a visit, she would bring extremely expensive gifts that I could only dream of affording. Her wife works a high-end job and she's a very big spender. She would bring expensive clothing items like purses, dresses, or makeup products for my daughter, games for my son, sometimes electronic devices. It is confusing for my kids because they have been acting differently since she has been doing this. They push for items and ask for things way out of our budget. My husband and I have to explain every time how we cannot afford things like their aunt. I asked my sister before to cut back, but she hasn't really listened too much. This time, she brought my daughter a coat that was worth double my rent. I asked her to come into the kitchen and told her that she should cut back on these gifts. I explained to her exactly how this was affecting my kids, how it made them feel inferior and made them expect too much. I also told her it was harmful, and asked her to please stop getting them gifts that were this expensive, and that otherwise, I wouldn't want her to spend a lot of time with them. She told me she just wanted to make them happy and apologized. I thought that was the end of it. At night, I got a phone call from my sister-in-law, my sister's wife, saying I had really hurt my sister emotionally with the way I put things that she cried when she got home. She said she was disappointed in me, and asked me to not disturb my sister unless it was to apologize. Edit. This is also partially why I am so over this. My sister-in-law is a pretty chill person overall. She would be the calmer person even in the most stressful situation. However, when there is even a small problem between my sister and I, she loses all that chill energy and inserts herself into the issue. Problem is, my sister is all for it. I don't even know at this point. My sister is a very sensitive and emotional person, but I don't see what I did wrong here. I asked her to stop getting my kids expensive stuff because it makes them expect a certain luxury we surely can't afford. Should I apologize? Not an idiot. Great catch. OP, you made a reasonable request, and your sister's response is to cry to her wife, and her wife's response is to cut you out until you apologize for making a reasonable request. Neither of them have given a single thought about you. Not an idiot. I don't understand all these YTA. You set a boundary for your kids, and she didn't follow it. The coat is twice your rent. What does a 12U girl that is going to outgrow the coat want with a 2K plus coat? The gifts are frankly excessive. I have had family friends give us nice and expensive gifts, but never something so out of budget from my own parents because they realized how it could look. She could spoil them with experiences. Is she being unreasonable? Let me know in the comments.